Welcome to Change. I'm Bonnie Carlin from the Senior Cafe at the Barn in Schaumburg, and I'm happy to be with you here today. We'll be talking about an exciting addition to the barn, which is the older adult market. And I think we talked about it a little bit last month, but we're going to really get into it this time. We've been doing it for several months now, and it is something that we're very, very proud of. But first, before we start, I'd like our panel to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Wendy McNew, and I'm the Public Relations Coordinator for the Greater Chicago Food Depository.
My name is Dale Alm, and I'm the Market Coordinator for the market at the barn.
And I'm Doree Bryant. I'm the Supervisor of Human Services for the Village of Schaumburg.
Great, thank you, everybody. Wendy, I'm really interested in the Greater Food Depository from Chicago. Can you tell us about your organization?
Sure. The Greater Chicago Food Depository is Chicago's food bank. We are a nonprofit food distribution and training facility with the mission of providing food for hungry people while striving to end hunger in our community. We were founded back in 1978 by a small group of volunteers, and last year we distributed 64 million pounds of food to hungry people in our community, including 21 million pounds of fresh produce.
Oh. Can you please explain what the older adult market is and how it got started?
Right. Well, the older adult market is a really exciting program that we have at the Food Depository because we recognize that older adults are facing food insecurity, many here in suburban Cook County. So the older adult market is based on a choice market distribution. So older adults can come in and they can shop, and they pick out items that are specially picked out for them based on the dietary needs of older adults, so they can come pick up the products and then socialize.
Well, that's great. If they are for people that perhaps are not having nutritious food or aren't able to get it, why are there no restrictions on who can get it and who can't?
Well, the Greater Chicago Food Depository, we want to remove the stigma attached with taking advantage of these programs. Studies show that 68,000 older adults here in suburban Cook County are living below the poverty line. They're food insecure. That means they don't know when or where their next meal is coming from. So we want to remove any barrier from anyone coming to take advantage of programs, especially programs like the older adult markets.
How long have the older adult markets been going on now?
They're fairly new. The program was piloted in 2011 at a few specific sites in the city of Chicago, and we've since expanded to 13 older adult market sites throughout Cook County, including 7 that are funded by the Retirement Research Foundation, which funds the market here at the Schaumburg barn.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness. That's I wasn't aware that there were so many sites now.
Yes, and they're doing very well, and we're just very excited about the success of the program.
Great. Where does the food actually come from, and how is it shipped to us?
Well, the food is distributed by the Greater Chicago Food Depository to the Schaumburg barn, and it comes from a few different locations. Some of the produce is specially purchased for the program, and then some of the produce comes from the Food Depository's Food Rescue Program. And the non-perishable shelf-stable items come from the Food Depository's food donation channels, like our food drives, our corporate donations, and food that we purchase, as well as food from the federal government.
Okay. And what is the difference between the older adult market and a food pantry, say?
Right. Well, the older adult market is specifically tailored to older adults. You know, I mentioned before about the special dietary needs for older adults. So the items that are available at older adult markets are they're going to be lower in sodium, they're going to be lower in sugar, and they're going to be higher in fiber. Lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. All those items we know older adults need.
And there's not much cooking to do these things, correct? I mean, a lot of them are the fresh produce and the fruits. I mean, you know, to boil an ear of corn or to do whatever. I mean, that's fairly simple. And I know older adults sometimes don't like to get involved in cooking too much, you know. And I think the food provided really, you know, is pretty easy to use.
It seems so, yes. And we are also coordinating with some people. I believe that you guys might be starting some food cooking demonstrations.
We're going to be talking about that.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Which is a very exciting initiative.
Dale, as one of our volunteers setting up when we have the older adult market, what do you have to do when the food arrives?
Well, we wait out in front with bated breath in our little trucks to carry the stuff in. The delivery truck comes in up in front. They have a big towing device that they pick up a whole pallet of food from the truck and then wheel it up to our door. They leave it fairly near to our door. We have to take the plastic wrap off, and then we manually bring it inside to the different tables that we use to provide the market once we start it. And basically that's it. We arrange it, we try to arrange it so that canned foods come in the beginning of the market, and then the produce comes at the end so that people are not putting their canned foods on top of the produce. It's the other way around.
It sounds like a good plan. Doree, I was wondering, was it difficult to figure out how to get the process to run smoothly?
Well, we started with a process and with the idea that whatever wasn't working, we would tweak it for the next time. So we have tweaked it a couple of times as far as kind of how to organize what order the people are able to obtain their food to make it as fair as possible, because as you know, we have a group of people that are already at the barn to have lunch for our daily nutritious lunch program that we have there. And then we have people that arrive just for the market that weren't already there having lunch. So that's probably what we tweaked the most, is kind of how to decide who gets to get in line first. It's really not a matter of running out of food, because we've had enough food for everybody, even if you're the last person whose number is called. It's more like how long you would have to wait, you know, to get in line and select your food. So we wanted to make that as fair as possible for people. So that's probably what we've tweaked the most.
We should point out that we've taken advantage of the information from the training class that Wendy's folks put on for us, where they talked about all the different things they did in their pilot program. So we had very good ideas, I think, and a very good course, and a lot of information already on what seems to work and what doesn't.
Oh, that's great. Wendy, what type of food is delivered and how much do you determine is needed? How do you figure that out?
Well, someone at the food depository does the calculations. It's not me. But yeah, no, there's a very scientific approach to determining how much food is given to each site. A lot of it's based on, you know, the numbers that the sites are seeing from the previous distributions. And the food items, they range. We talked a lot about, you know, those really nutritious items that are so important to an older adult's diet. Lots of fresh fruits, vegetables, also non-perishable items packed with protein, you know, canned proteins, canned chicken, canned tuna, canned vegetables. And so those items are then distributed to the sites.
Very good. We'll have to take a short break here, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're talking about the older adult market, which has been taking place at the barn in Schaumburg. And today here we have Wendy from the Greater Chicago Food Depository with us. And I wanted to ask her, as far as the other sites, have they been in existence longer than our site has so far?
A few sites have. So we started the older adult program. We piloted it back in 2011 at some specific sites in the city of Chicago. And after seeing the success of the program, we decided to expand. And recently the Food Depository did a study, which we released in May, called the Social Impact Study, that found some staggering results that hundreds of thousands of older adults living in Cook County are food insecure, including 68,000 older adults here in suburban Cook County that don't don't know where their next meal is coming from. So from that information, when we were looking to expand, we identified communities that we thought could really use a program like this that potentially had limited resources for older adults, and Schaumburg was selected. And so we started the program mid-August. I believe there have been 4 distributions so far, and sounds like it's been very successful.
It certainly has. What are the qualifications for those who are able to get food? Are there any qualifications?
No qualifications. You show up, you sign in, you don't need to show,
You just have to say that you're 60 years of age or older.
65, sorry, 65 years.
60
years.
Okay.
And no proof of income. We want to remove the barriers when accessing programs like this.
Very good.
Yeah, we ask for no IDs or no documentation.
That's
They
great.
just check a box that says whether they're 60 years of age or older.
And they sign their name.
Okay, very good. I understand you've been getting some help, Dale, from the village in some way.
We've been very fortunate. The wonderful village Schaumburg that we live in. I talked briefly about how these 2 big pallets of food come up and how we kind of magically draw them inside. Sometimes that food is very heavy. We were talking a little bit before about these many bags of potatoes, 50-pound bags of potatoes. What we've been doing lately, we've prevailed on the good auspices of the Schaumburg Public Works Department. And when the truck shows up, because the schedule isn't really very firm, when the truck shows up, we call over to the Public Works Department and they send a couple of their best guys over and they help us to move the food in.
Oh, that's
so it's
great.
really a big help for us, us being all, everybody over 60 and many of us over 70 or 80. So it's kind of a chore if we don't have help from somebody. These guys really go out of their way and really do a wonderful job of helping us move the food inside.
Absolutely. We have to give them a lot of credit for that.
That's right.
And I was wondering, Wendy, the food choices, how do they decide which food to give? I know they sort of rotate things through. Is there a nutritionist that decides, or?
The food depository selects the items based on their nutritional elements. So we're choosing items that are lower in sodium, lower in sugar, high in fiber, specifically tailored to the older adult diet. And as for the variety that comes every distribution, it just really depends on what the food depository is bringing in. We get our food from a variety of locations from our food drives. You'll be seeing a lot of our barrels out this holiday season. Please donate.
Yeah, please.
We have corporate donations and then food that we receive from the federal government. So that usually dictates the types of products that are available.
Yeah, I was wondering because there's such great variety. I mean, you don't get the same food all the time. It's just different all the time, it seems, and rotates through.
Yes.
That's good. Doree, I was noticing that there were several nutritionists at a couple of our markets. Can you explain what they were doing?
Yes, we have had a couple of times when some people from the University of Illinois Extension Services who are trained in healthy food and good nutritional practices, they have worked with the Greater Chicago Food Depository to see what items we're going to be featuring at the market that particular day. And then they've come in a couple of different times and prepared some kind of dish or snack or whatever using some of the items that are going to be offered at the market that day. With menus that they can just, menu cards they can distribute, and also free samples of that dish that they're preparing. So it's a way, for instance, the very first market, I think a couple of different markets now, we've had canned black-eyed peas.
Right.
Now, I'm from the South, so I know what you do with black-eyed peas. But you wouldn't believe how many people were passing on the black-eyed peas because they didn't know what to do with them. So the people from the University of Illinois Extension Services will you know, take that opportunity to make something with black-eyed peas that people then can sample and say, this is delicious, and then they'll know what to do with it.
Which is
they provide the recipes for that,
which was great. You know, they were passing out recipes, they gave you a sample, and it's a great source of protein, you know, and maybe some people don't think of, you know, black-eyed peas as protein, but that's a very good dish.
It's in the beans and legumes category.
Ooh, I can tell you know your nutrition. But anyway, what is done with the leftover food when the market closes?
You know.
Sure. When the market closes, depending on what we have and how many people have come through and what their tastes are, we have, you know, the last couple of markets, we haven't had an awful lot left. The things that are left, canned goods, staple stuff like that, we store them until the next market, and then we put them out as the first items for choice in the new market. The produce, what happens is we have another partner that's been assigned to us by the food depository that we call as we're nearing the end of the market and tell them we have some produce that we're going to have left over, you know, and try to give them an idea of what and the volume. And they send some people over and they take it and then they put it in cold storage. The reason that we've called them is because they have a cold storage facility where we do not. And so they put it in cold storage. They operate their own marketplace. And so the next day, the following day, they start up their market and they are then able to continue the distribution of that food in a very timely manner without any spoilage taking place because it's been stored in cold storage overnight.
And that particular site was selected. It's a church, and they have a pantry, as Dale said, they have a pantry open on Saturdays, and our market's on Fridays. So that particular site was selected because that produce will then be able to be available at their food pantry on the very next day.
Oh, that's great. There's no waste at all.
No waste.
That's great. We'll have to take another break right now, but we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about our new program that gets nutritious food to our seniors in the Schaumburg area at the barn. And we wanted to resume our program today. I wanted to ask Dale, when the seniors arrive at the barn to participate in Market Day, how does it work?
When the seniors arrive at the barn, we have somebody up at the right next to the doorway, and they hand out individual numbers for each person coming through the line, or each household really is what it amounts to. We serve on a household basis. An individual will get one number. If a man and wife come, they would get one number between them. So you've got the number. When time comes to start the market, we will say, okay, it's time, and call like the first 5 numbers or how many ever. And then we have a table right next to the start of the market area. And you have to come in and you sign your signature. You verify that you're 60 years of age by making a check mark in a box. You give us the information on are you an individual or are you serving a household of more than one person? And then the total number of people in the household. And that's really all you give us. We ask for no documentation or identification of any sort. And we depend on your honesty in all these items. Then we have a series of tables that are in kind of an L-shaped configuration with the canned goods at the front. And as you get to the back, we have the produce so that you can take your bag and drag it along with you and fill it up with the canned goods and the heavy stuff at the bottom and the lighter stuff and produce at the end of it. you go through, and then at the end, often we will have nutritional programs, as they say, either at a table or in our kitchen, and serving through the window to the area from the kitchen, either one of the two ways. Sometimes last marketplace we had a person from the SNAP activity helping people make requests for food stamps. So a very, very important thing. And that's pretty much how it is. We run from 1 in the afternoon to 2:30 in the afternoon.
Very good.
1, it's very crowded, needless to say. 2:30, it kind of thins down quite a bit.
But that's not every week, correct?
That's once every other week. So there's usually nominally 2 market days in a month. Just because of how the calendar works. For example, August we had 3, but then in September we've had 2, and in October we'll have 2. As it so happens, since we're in the holiday season, in November and December we'll only have 1 market day in each of those months.
I see. And will that be like maybe earlier in the month so it doesn't conflict with the holiday, or
something like November 9th and November?
It's fairly close to the middle. Sure. I don't happen to have it right on here.
Okay, gotcha. Wendy, have you participated in any of the market days? Have you gone down to any of them? Or?
I have been to a few older adult markets in the city of Chicago, and I'm really impressed at the efficiency of our partners who put on these markets. They're very complex, and they take a lot of hard work. A lot of the people who work at the markets are volunteers. These are people who are donating their time and in the fight against hunger in our community. And so I'm very impressed every time I walk in to see so many smiling faces. And another thing that I really enjoy about the older adult markets is the socialization. It's people coming together. You know, you're shopping. This is, you know, it's a unique experience. The older adults, they come in, they choose the items they'd like, they have conversations, they have a health screening, they maybe visit with a SNAP outreach coordinator from the food depository to see if they're eligible for nutrition assistance. So I think it's just a wonderful activity for the community, and we are just so grateful to be partners with the Village of Schaumburg in this.
It makes all the volunteers feel good too. They are volunteering for a good cause. What is better than providing people something to eat to keep them alive? So
who gets the volunteers? Do you do that on your end, or do they sort of
The sites do a lot of the volunteer outreach.
We have a lot of volunteers that were already volunteers at the barn, like Dale. And then I know we have had new volunteers every time we've had the market that I think probably responded to a call from Greater Chicago Food Depository. And maybe they live in the area or whatever. So we've made new friends.
That's wonderful, And if anybody out there, is interested, they can contact us too if they want to be a volunteer at the food.
And our volunteers, it seems, have been very quality people too. Real good, wonderful. Smart, and not just moving things from here to there. They're actually helping the people out as they go through, and always have a smiling face because they enjoy what they're doing.
And volunteers that are 60 years of age or older at the end of the market can also shop.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We ask them to just wait till the end of the market. But
Dale, what do you particularly like about this new program?
Well, outside of the fact that it really is serving people who really need serving, it's a benefit to mankind. That's a big thing that I like about it. And it's kind of fun, too. It's fun working with people, socialization, as you say. The volunteers are all happy faces. The people who come in, generally speaking, are very happy to be there and interested in getting the food. Because we have good quality food, above average quality food, people are not looking down on it and feeling like they're getting the dregs of what somebody else is eating, already. They're getting first quality, first time through stuff. So it's good to be part of a good program. I really like that.
Dury, do you have anything to add to that as far as what you like?
Well, I think another advantage that we've seen that I'll add on to what Dale said, and this is one of the reasons that Greater Chicago Food Depository looks for sites such as ours that are already existing senior programs, is that people who didn't necessarily know that the barn was there serving a daily nutritious meal, now they come to the older adult market and they know that we're there. And so we've gotten kind of new, people coming to our daily nutritious lunch program that were introduced to the barn for the first time by coming to the market.
Which is great because they come to have lunch at the barn and then they can go home and use their market day supplies.
Exactly.
So I wanted to thank all of our panelists today for the information on the older adult market, and to any seniors who are out there who would like to join us for lunch or participate in the market, please call Karen at 847-524-7496. We look forward to seeing you all. Goodbye for now.